This conference will now be recorded.
Right? So this is how we have to typecast our driver reference into take screenshot reference. On take screenshot reference, we can call get screenshot as a method. So this is a method which can take screenshot of your page or your window, right? So for that method, I'm passing what output type. Output type what parameter? Output type file. So output type interface, we have a file base64, right? And we have to call which one file. Now it can return file. There is file again in Java, one of the class in Java. So we are storing as a file. Now this file stored in code. Let's consider this is storing in code level. Now I want in my physical location, nothing but my directory. One of my folder I want to store the capture screenshot. How? So this is a method using what the method copy file. I want to copy this file to my physical location. How? Copy file asking parameter. Two parameter. What is that parameter? One is file reference, nothing but this is source file, and this is the destination file which you want to store and where you want to store. I want to store this one and I want to store in this location. This entire location I am passing into where my again file class constructor. If I pass file class constructor, so file will what will file do in Java? File can create a new file by name what? By naming this one under my D drive, this folder, again this project, again I have created a folder screenshot. Under this folder I am creating a new file .png with extension what? PNG file. Nothing but picture can store in PNG, JPG, JPEG. As of now, I'm storing in PNG. So this is coming from where team? File utils class. So file utils class coming from where? File utils coming from java.commons.io. Earlier it was in Java internal library only, but you have to add external jars. What is that? Java commons.io. So you can add Apache commons.io. Just download this jar file, add to your project. Now you're good to use file utils class. File utils class having copy file method is asking two parameters, source file and destination file where you want to store. If you explain this one, and people will not ask second question. And if possible, you can give, see, take screenshot. Take screenshot is one of the parent interface of remote WebDriver. What is a remote WebDriver? Again, remote WebDriver is a class. What is the remote WebDriver? Remote WebDriver is a direct implementation class of what in WebDriver. Remote WebDriver is direct implementation class of WebDriver. And what are we are using? Creating object for Chrome driver, Safari driver, IE driver, Edge driver. These are all the child classes of remote WebDriver. In between WebDriver and our classes, there is a one more implementation class called what? Remote WebDriver. Remote WebDriver parent interface of is WebDriver. Along with WebDriver, we have one more interface, take screenshot. Clear? And if you create object by using remote WebDriver, here, can I create like this? So earlier I'm calling WebDriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver. I'm creating my Chrome driver as of this, consider this is a Chrome driver class. I'm creating Chrome driver class object with using what reference? Parent interface, WebDriver reference. Now observe here. So along with WebDriver, I can create object by using remote WebDriver class also. This is a basic thing. Already we know it, right? So we can create object by using parent interface, right? Remote WebDriver. This is the class team. Remote WebDriver. See here. Observe, if I create object by using remote WebDriver, directly I can call this get screenshot as method by using my object reference. Now this time no need to typecast. This is not required. Why? How am I able to call get screenshot method? Because This get screenshot as method is available in take screenshot interface reference. Now it is directly available in remote WebDriver. But people are using this way only. Type casting driver reference into text screenshot. On top of text screenshot, people are calling what method? Get screenshot as a method. Remember team. Method name you have to remember. Get screenshot as a method. Get screenshot as a method. Screenshot type output type what? Here you can give base 64 bytes class, but you have to use file. Simple team. Just you have to call get screenshot as a method. Now it will return file. Store it into file, copy file method, use copy file method, give source and give destination. That's it. Hope you're clear and practice well. Okay. Now let me take one more package here. My package name is as of now, let me give staging 4. Okay. How many files you know, team? Files. Files. How many files we know as of now? Files. If you don't understand the question, I'll repeat. Files. Files. How many types of files you know as of now? Can anyone? Types of files. At least respond, team. If you don't know the question, can give I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. Team. See, whatever the file here we are using, that is a text file. Now, text file contains so extension what you see every file, so it will store with some extension. So that extension only we can able to know. See here, this is the file we are using, right? See, go to the properties. Here you can see the extension word. This is text document and extension word txt. Every file having some extension. From extension only we can differentiate. Right. Suppose if you having an Excel file, observe here I'm having Excel file, right? Go to the properties. See what is it having? XLX extension XLX. By extension only, system can differentiate file type. Excel file extension what team? See, if you're having a text file, the extension what? How it can store in system? Your file name dot whatever the file name you're using, system can store dot like this. Your file name dot txt. That is the extension. That is we are calling as text file. Text file how it can store in system? File name dot txt. File name we are giving, but dot txt we are not giving. System by default it can store in the machine by using extension. Suppose see here, if I create new file here, text document. Here I can give text document. My text document is text doc. So how system can store it in text dot txt. Txt we are not seeing here. So if you observe the extension, system can store extension like this. See here, text document dot txt. This is your file name. That's how your text file will store in your machine. That is text file. If you're storing Excel file, how the Excel file will store it in? How the Excel file will store in machine? This is all basics team. File name dot C. In Windows 10, how it is storing? Observe. So let me create a new file, Excel file, Excel sheet, text file, right? Just test. Observe the extension, properties, go here. How it is storing? Dot XLSX. right? See, dot xlsx. This is how it is storing Excel file. Earlier, it is storing one more file. So this is XLX. It updated in Windows 10. So before Windows 7, so maybe the Excel file is XLX. XLX. Earlier, it is XLS, but it is storing in Windows after Windows 7, storing into XLSX. Okay, this is old one team, right? And this is text file. So if you create a file, if you write a Java code, in which extension you have to store it in? If you write a code in Java file, normal file, in which extension you have to store? How you can say it's a Java file?
Gotcha.
Exactly, file name dot Java. This is how you could convey your file as a Java file. After compilation, system generating a file with what extension team? After compile, you will get what?
Dot exe. Dot plus
Basics
file.
team. Basics. Class name dot class file. Your file name may having a number of classes. The system is going to generate class name dot class file. Already I have shown in normal text file and I have shown in Eclipse. See here. If this is my class name, what is my class name? First test. On system can generate. So what dot class file? First test dot class file. In this file, I can maintain one more class. Class A. Now system can generate two dot class files now. For each and every class, remember, for each and every class, system will generate one dot class file. File may contain n number of classes, but dot class file for what? For each class. This is remember. Okay, and along this Excel file and text file, in real time, people are going to use one more file. What is that file team? That is property file. Property file. How the property file will store team? So your file name again. So any file name you can give. File name dot property. Sorry, properties. Yes, is dot properties. See, these are the file type. These are the file stream. So we are using these are the real time files. So one we can use text file dot txt. We are using Excel file dot xlx as of now. Earlier it is xlx, right? And properties file and Java file dot class. So even we are using .exe file. Where you are using .exe file team? Have you come across this .exe file? .exe file. See, whatever I am writing the code, each and every line, each and every word, each and every letter, you have to debug it. You have to get the questions. Why this .exe? Okay, exe file. These are the files majorly we are use. Text file, Excel file, property file, Java file, dot class file, exe file. Okay. See, in real time, so people are using these files. See here. So whatever we are doing this one, we are doing hard code here. hard code, it is not a good practice. Everything you have to give a dynamic values. See again, passing URL. Every time we are hard coding, right? So and again we are using properties, username, password. These are all hard coding. This is not at all recommended. Let's consider. Let's consider. I'll give you a simple example here. See, in your organization having three environments, right? Three environment. So development environment, so and QA environment, there will be an maintenance, right? So three environment. Let's consider you are working on where team, you are working here, QA environment, right? So you are working here, and here you are taking a project. Inside the project, you are entering URL. You are launching browser by entering URL. Here the URL is what team? Let's consider in real time they will give you port number team. HTTPS colon slash slash. Let's say your port number is 8080. This is your URL. Remember, in real time you are not having a www dot so something url.com. You don't get like this. Most of the cases you will get a port number. This is not a live application, right? See, whatever you're seeing in this browser, those are all live applications. Those are all tested applications. Those are all working applications. But by the time of testing, you don't get that URL. Anyway, we'll work on that URL last, but initially they will give only port numbers. Remember, okay? Let's consider your this is your project. So inside your project, you are giving this URL. Now, this is you are in which environment team? You are in which environment? This is specific to QA environment. Yes or no? Now your manager said, boss. So let's consider you are executing. You have written 1,000 test cases. On 1,000 test cases, you are using this URL. Now you are hard coded this URL. Now, so before releasing, your manager said, boss, can you please execute your 1,000 test cases on this environment? Now, again, here you have to change your URL by and each and every environment having different URL, right? Now, this time you have to give URL what? Again, HTTPS colon slash slash www, sorry, port number 8089. Now, this time port number change. Now, this time, if you want to execute your test cases, again, you have to go to this one and remove this URL and replace into some other URL. Now, this type of practice is not a good practice. Always you have to pass your URL from external file. See here. So I should not change code if the people are request to execute URL by executing all test cases by changing URL. At this time, here what you have to do, team. So here you have to maintain your URL in some other file. Here you have to maintain your URL. Let's consider my URL is something this one, https colon slash slash. This is my URL 80 82 80. This is 85. This is my URL. See, I should not directly hard code my URL this here. So here I have to save in another external file. Every time I have to read my URL to my code. I have to get my URL from one file to my code. Why team? Why? Because to get dynamic nature. If some people are requested me again, boss, can you please change URL and execute all your test cases? Directly, I'm not touching this code. Now this time, I'll come to this here, my file. I'll remove previous existing URL and I'll paste a new URL, https colon slash slash. Now this time I have to give new URL like this. Remember, so based on request, I'm not changing, I'm not touching my code. Just I'm touching one file So on that file, I'm changing URL. So every time I'm reading my URL from that file. You should not touch your code. Once you complete the code, you should not touch your code. And your code should always dynamic. It is act as dynamic. These URLs and usernames, passwords, you have to read it from external files. Let's consider this is your project. In project, you are reading URL from one file. In real time, people will call this file as config file. What is file team? Config file. Config file, nothing but it is having your configuration, nothing but your URL. Config file. And the extension is what team? Config dot properties. So you have to read file. So you have to read URL from which file team? Config dot properties file. In real time, everyone people will use config file. Config file is a property file. In that config file, you will maintain credentials like URL. This is QA URL. This is dev URL. This is delivery URL. You have to maintain different URLs based on key value. You have to read your application URL. Right, team? Then let's see how to read data from this property file. You will call prop file, property file, config.property file. Clear? And remember from now onward, whatever you're doing, that is specific to your project. In project level only, you have to maintain. Okay. Now observe team. So I'm creating it one more package, stng 4. So let me make it as stng d4. In this, let me create a class read data from where team property. Okay. Finish it. So this is my class. So, earlier we have a method, right? See this one. This is a method. As of now, let me take a main method. First, we'll see how to read. Then we'll read and use the data. Okay. So this is login test. Now observe. So first of all, after launching browser, here I want to enter URL. So that URL where I have to maintain team. I have to maintain property file, right? See here. And that property file you have to maintain in project level, not in other than your project. You have to maintain project level. So for that, let's see, I'm creating property file here. Even you can create a folder. In that folder, you can create a file, or else directly you can create a file. What is that file we have to create now? See, you can create a property file, text file directly here. Let me create a property file. Now let me take right click on project, go to the new. Now this time take file. Okay. Now file name what name? Config and dot. What the extension you have to give? Properties. Properties. This is the extension you have to give. And let me finish. Let see here. You will get a config dot properties, or else directly create a folder. Inside a folder, how to create? Already we have seen at yesterday. You have created screenshot folder, right? Like that, you can create one folder. On that folder, if you want, you can maintain this config file. As of now, let me maintain in project level only config dot properties. See, this is just like a text file team. This is a text file. Now here you can maintain your URL, URL like this. So what is the URL as of now? Let me give my URL. So what is our URL we are using here? See, this is URL. Let's consider this is URL. In real time, you will get port number team. So in my config file, this is my URL. Now I want to get this URL from my property files to my test case here. This is my test case, right? So I want to get this. I want to get my URL from property file to my test case. Here I want to get URL before calling get method, driver.get method. Then how to get this? How to get URL from where? Config dot properties file. Okay. Observing. In Java, we have a class. We have a few classes to read data from property file. Now, the first class to use is properties. Again, so there is a class called properties. Properties class from where team? Properties class from where? Java.util. Create object of properties class. Object name is equal to new properties. See, properties. This is the class we have to call. Now, if you want to load your property file into your Java, there is a one more class called file input stream. File input stream. This is the class it will give you as a stream, any file as a stream. So for that also we have to create object of what? File input stream. File input stream, again object name is equal to new file input stream. So file input stream asking what team? They're asking FIS. FIS nothing but file. If you want, you can directly pass here that config file location, or else you can pass file. Actually, we have seen file, right? File is what team? Again, we have a inbuilt class in Java. Let me use this file directly. I can use like this, or else observe here. How to get this path? Go to the property, copy this entire path and give it here within the double quotes. As a string parameter, we have to pass it in. Okay. Now observe. This give me what? Declaration. Just give the declaration. Will give you team. Nothing but this displays nothing but if the file is not exist, it will give you some exception. Boss, there is no file. In this location, there is no file. It will give you like this. Okay. Now after that, you have to load this file into properties. Property, there is a method called property dot load method. For this load method, you have to give what team? You have to give this file input stream object FIS. Now your file is got loaded. Again, it is asking one more declaration. Just give declaration. Okay, FIS. So inside property class, we have a load method. By using load method, we are loading file input stream. Now there is a method called in again property file method called get property. Observe team, get property string, get property key and value. Now this time call get property method. So if you supply key, that will give you value. What is the my get property return type team? Get property return type what? String, right? So if it is string, I can store it into string. String. Now you can give URL. Now here, what my get property asking parameter? The get property asking parameter key. if you supply key, remember your property file will store always data what key and value pairs. How we are receiving map interface implementation classes, hash map, linked hash map, tree map, key and value pairs, right? So if you supply key, it will give you this URL. This is QA URL. So what is the key for this URL team? QA URL. In QA environment, I want to get the URL. Now here, let's give QA URL. That too within the double quotes. If you within the double quotes, if you pass URL, nothing but key, it will return URL containing value in the form of string. Now you can go to use this one. Observe whether I am able to get this one or not. System.println pass this string. Okay, give within the double quotes coordinate this one. Okay, observe whether I am able to get this one or not. Observe team. So this is the URL. I am getting from where? I'm getting from where? Property file. This is how you have to use in real time team. People are using URL in real time. Suppose so. This I have scripted the code for 1,000 test cases. Now it has been 1 year. Now people are asking me to execute entire the test cases, 1,000 test cases in not this URL. Now change the URLs to something else. As of now, let's give one more example. And or else execute your entire test case in dev URL. As of now, dev URL, how you are giving this one? You can give any URL as of now. HTTPS :/ www.harmanaudio.in. Now this time URL changing to dev. Now, if you want this URL, just pass this URL. Just pass this URL. Here, instead of QA URL, you can give dev URL. Now you will get dev URL dynamically. Or else you can change this value based on your requirement. You can change key value. You can change value only. Every time. So this is a dynamic thing. You don't need to touch your code and again. If you are touching your code, there is a chance to do the mistake. Should not touch your code again and again. Okay. Now, this is how I'm getting URL, right? So let me use this one as earlier we have this test case, right? Login, right? Copy this entire this thing into here, right? This is login, right? Now we are here, we are hard coding it, right? URL hard coding. Now observe here, let me remove this hard coded URL. Let me give a dynamic URL, which is I'm getting from where team? I'm getting from my config.properties file. Observe here, this is the URL, right? URL, string URL, let me pass here. This is update getting from where team? Getting from property file, config property file. Dynamically, I am using. Earlier we are hard coding. Now this time we are getting dynamically. For that, we have to pass key what team. Now this time you have to pass key this one. Observe team. Let me execute this test case known as test. Now URL this time getting from where team? Config.property file. Config is a property file. People will maintain credentials, URLs, usernames, passwords. right? Now test case completed, test case got passed. Now I have removed hard coded URL. I am giving URL from where config.property. Please let me know if you have any doubts. Any questions, team? Team, any questions? Thank you, team. And this is how you are getting, right? See, and this is a config file. Suppose after executing your test case, your test case may generate some data. I'm repeating, your test case may generate some data. See, this is our test case, right? After executing this test case, people are saying that boss store uh, the store the username after login, or store your username after creating account. So if I'm creating account 100 times, there will be a possible of 100 accounts. I want to know all 100 users, all 100 usernames. Nothing but your test case will generate what? Username. Suppose if you execute your login test case 100 times, every time it will generate username. That is nothing but your test case generating data. That data you want to store. Now that time, if you want, you can store it into property file. How to store it, team? How to store it? Again, simple way. This is how we are seeing data. Nothing but we are reading the data. Now even we can write data to what? Property file. How to write data to property file? Observe here. Let me comment out quitting so that my driver will not quit. My browser still exists after executing your test case. See, as of now, my simple requirement is after executing this test case, I want to store login username. Login username from where? Login username from application. Now, here I want to get this username from this application. I want to store it. How to store, team? Now, let me click this one, inspect. Now, if I inspect this element, I will get this username. Observe, somewhere else I'm getting this username, right? Now, let me get from this here. Now, how to get this, team? How to get this text? Anyone? I want to get this text. How to get? Anyone remember? If I want to get this text, how to get dynamically? First of all, we have to inspect, right? There's a common way. Inspect of what here? So try to inspect. It is having a class, right? So then class, is it having anything? We identify by using text my account. Okay. Let me try to use this class and duplicates or not. slash tag name h1, right? So class name. What is the class? The class annotation in the double quotes, single quotes, give your class value and close your XPath. It is giving one mark one, right? Now, after login, before this one, assertion, see here before assertion, I want to read username. After login, I want to read username. For that, how to read team driver dot find element. Find element by what? By that of XPath method. Why XPath? I'm using XPath, right? This is the XPath I have called. After that, I have to call a method what team? Which method I have to call? I have to remember team. Method itself having get text. If you want to get a text from a web element, you have to use web element method what? Get text. What is the get text return type? Get text return type. String team. Text type. Return type string. So you have to store it into string. Right? Now here I want to store this username into where? Into my property file. If you want to store it, again here there is a method called set property. Set property method in where team? Set property method in this property class. Use this same call prop object reference of property and set property. Set property asking what? Key and value base. So in property file it is storing key and value, right? So first of all, let's give key. Key is, let me use first user, and value. From value where I'm getting my web element dynamically. Hope clear, right? Property dot store. Nothing but it will store after writing your data. What is the method team? Storing. Last, after writing your data, you have to call a method called what? Store. Store what it is asking team? Store what it is asking? Store asking output stream. How we are having input stream, file input stream, we are also having file output stream. For that, I have to create file output stream class object, right? So before that, before calling set method, so I have to call what in file output stream. Again, Java inbuilt class file output stream equals to new file output stream. Again, file output stream asking the file what here already we have given the path. Just copy this path, give it to your file output stream, right? And store it here. And store method asking file output stream, give file output stream. Comment, you can give any comment as of now, storing username. Observing, so after executing my test case, whether I'm able to get username, and now this time I have to store my username into where? Property file. Okay. Now, for understanding purpose, let me give username. Let me print this one username. How to print system.println. So username give here. Now this time, let me execute. I'm able to get the username of Observe team. See here. Username getting from application. My account. This is username. Right? Now observe. Observe. Go to your property file. Observe. Property file. Property file is returned. And along with return, it will give you time. In which time it will return? So this is the time. Okay. And this is how you have to read data from property file. This is how you have to write data into property file. This is a simple thing. Why people are using this property file? This is very lightweight and program execute very fast, and it's lightweight. No need to write so much of code. Just simply you have to create object of what? Property class. In Java, we have a class called properties to read and write data into property. Just property file. This is how we are reading data. Let me use this code. Example code. File input stream. Properties class object. Just loading. After that, you have to call method what? You have to call method what team to read data. Property dot get property. Get property method. Get property method asking what? Key. If you pass a key, it will return value. Return value in the form of what? String. Default property file store data as a string type. Okay, this is how we have to read data from property file. And real time, people will use this property file in storing URLs. Okay, and next, how to write data. How to write data team? Just again on top of this property file, use the method what? Set property method. Set property, and after that load that file. Nothing but store that file. This is how you can write data. Again, we are hard coding this file path. We are hard coding. Day by day, we have to remove this hard coded values. We have to remove this one, hard coded. And as of now, we are remove only URL. In coming classes, we have to remove this username, passwords, this xpath. Okay. Hope no questions, right? Just practicing, nothing team. Just I'm creating two classes objects and then calling load method. After that, calling get property. Get property method. If you pass key, it will return value. That's it. Two methods, two classes. File input stream, property class, set property. Calling single method. After that, store. After writing, you have to store it. Otherwise, data will not store. Clear team? And let me give you a task here. Go to the same application. Here, whatever we have, same application. And here, I'll give you a task. Go to sign up. In property file, maintain username, last name, email, confirm email, password, and confirm password. You can maintain only email and confirm email. You can give same data in this two text field. Password one time you can maintain in property file, and you can give same data in two times. Here, try to create at least 5 accounts by maintaining usernames and password emails in property file. After that, after creating account, read that username and store it into property file. Hope you got task right. Create application, read URL and username, password from property file, and create account in your application. After creating account, read that username and store it into again property file. one more property file. Here you have to maintain two property files. One is config file, one is user accounts. Okay, maintain two property file. By the time of loading data, by the time of writing data, here you have to give one more property file. As of now, I have given same file, right? But you have to give another property file instead of config. Just give user accounts properties. Here you have to give user account properties. Okay, please practice and try to at least attempt. If you block anywhere, if you get any questions, ask me at any time.